Canelo Alvarez beats Gennady Golovkin in an absolutely one-sided schooling from Canelo. A fight which, I'm not going to lie, it went pretty much how I figured it would. Gennady Golovkin pretty much really looked his age in there. At 40 years old, he wasn't able to press the same. It didn't look like he was that comfortable, didn't flow, didn't go forward, didn't use the jab. It was pretty much like I said, just a one-sided, I don't want to say beatdown, but it was pretty close to looking like that. Obviously, in my preview video for this fight, I said that I felt Canelo would get it done by just inflicting so much punishment, and either the doctor or the corner would stop the fight in the 9th to 10th round. And to me, I think Canelo faded a little bit in the latter part of this fight. He kind of wasn't able to really step on it, and I think Canelo has this problem in a few fights. Happened in the Bivol fight, happened in the Danny Jacobs fight, I remember, where because I think he throws with so much, he doesn't throw with all his power, but he does wing a lot of shots, and I think because of that, he gasses, and naturally he's a big guy anyway, and you know, he isn't the type of fighter that will set a pace on you and keep at it. You know, there's certain fighters who will go out there and they'll set the tempo, and they can just keep at that tempo for all 12. You know, Shakur Stevenson can do that. Errol Spence is someone who's very good at that. Once he sets a pace, we saw in the Ugas fight, once he had Ugas and a little bit of bother, from 6 onwards, he kept coming and coming and coming and never once slowed down. And I think fighters who can do that to you, they're the ones who will get the finishes and will get the stoppages. And Canelo can't do that. Canelo has kind of become more reliant on one shot throughout the years, and we saw this here. But from the first 8 rounds, it was a complete wash. In my scorecard, I had it 119 to 109 to Canelo. I gave Gennady Golovkin 1 round in this fight. If you're being generous, maybe you give him the second. Maybe you give him the... If you're being very generous, I think you give him 3. And I mean very, very generous on that. I don't see 1 round where... or a world where you can give him any more than that. The round I did give him was round 9. He landed a few shots. I looked like he buzzed Canelo momentarily, but Canelo was able to regroup and didn't really seem that affected, to be honest, by it. But yeah, from the first bout, though, it went pretty much, like I said, how I kind of figured it would go. Canelo just came out. First round was a bit of a feel around. Canelo was trying to land the bigger shots, but then, like I said, 2 to 8, Canelo was just piecing Golovkin up and picking him apart, and Golovkin just could not do anything to him. It was, like I said, it was pretty much the where you thought it would go. Canelo didn't really go to the body at all, which he did a few body shots here and there, but it wasn't like something where he was consistently going at Golovkin. He landed a few shots upstairs, and Golovkin's face was, you can see, starting to get really marked up by around the 7th round. I remember looking at him and thinking, again, maybe my prediction might come where maybe if Canelo just keeps on him, he may just inflict enough punishment that maybe the eye closes up, or he does something to Golovkin that will cause a cut and something that's significant. But from like round 8 onwards, Golovkin slowly came back into it, but again, wasn't enough. And like I said, round 9, I gave him the 9th round. Looked like he was coming forward a bit more, but again, it was like 5-second little like spurts from Golovkin where he would land a few shots and then just back off and then go into a shell, and it was almost as if he was scared to get hit, which don't make sense because Golovkin's chin is one of the best in boxing, so don't really yeah, it was an interesting game plan though from Golovkin. I don't understand really what he was looking to do. Again, at the age, you may as well just, like I said, don't try and be a slick boxer, is what I said in my preview. Don't change what you are and just be that guy. And for some reason, he looked like he was just a bit too timid in there. He didn't really look like the guy we've known for years, that big, bad middleweight who was knocking everybody out. At the weight as well, I don't think he looked that fantastic. I mean, physically he looked good, but in the way he was moving in the fight, it didn't look like he was that comfortable in there. And yeah, it was like I said, a one-sided beatdown from Canelo, and now he obviously keeps his belts at 168, and he obviously finishes off the rivalry. He's now 2 up against Golovkin, and the first one was Golovkin's fight. He won that fight, but they gave it a draw. Second, you could argue maybe I had it a draw, but if you want to give a winner, I think Canelo was the rightful winner. But that third fight, this one. No doubt who won this fight. It was a clear victory to Canelo. And even then, the judges still gave it close. I think, I'm trying to remember what the scorecards were. I think one was, what was the scorecard? Let me look at it now. Because I remember thinking the scorecards were very, very, very close. Not very close, but a bit generous considering all that is. Right, so the scorecards, one judge had it 115, 113. Two of them had 115, 113, and one had it 116, 112. I don't know how the hell you have 115, 113, but again, I think these judges, I'm convinced that Vegas aren't biased to any fighter. They just love to cause havoc and chaos. At this point, you got to expect at least 2 or 1 bad judges scorecard when you fight in Vegas. Because there is no real fair assessments in there, and yeah, this doesn't surprise me anymore. I think with Vegas particularly, we all know how the judges can be, so weird though, very, very weird. Weird scorecards, but it is what it is. And yeah, so Canelo obviously gets back in the win column and gets he did call out Dimitri Bivol at the fight, calling for a rematch. I think that would be I still don't think he wins that fight. I think Bivol it's not like Bivol's an old man either. Bivol is a very, very he's a young light heavyweight who I think has so much. Well, I say young, he's 31, but youngish, and younger than Canelo by a year, so he's the same age as Canelo. So the best hope Canelo has of that is if Bivol just slows down dramatically, but it's not going to happen. I said when those two fought that it's not an easy fight that for Canelo, and I maintain it's a rough fight for him, to be honest. Canelo's elite, but again, there's only so much you can do. But yeah, I would like to see that fight. If not, if he wants to continue at light heavyweight, Beterbiev there. It would not be a smart move because Beterbiev hits you, and I think you're really going to feel it. And as tough as Canelo is, I don't think you really want to be playing with that kind of power, especially at the when you're coming up. 37 Beterbiev, so obviously age isn't really in his favour, but who knows? Maybe he can do something. But Beterbiev just seems to be getting better with age at the moment, so I still think it's a rough fight for him. Maybe you waits in time and for Bivol and Beterbiev to fight each other. If Beterbiev maybe causes some damage in Bivol, maybe then go for the rematch. But to me, I think just be smart and pick your fights wisely. I don't know if that's really the fight you really need right now. And to be honest, he's beaten pretty much most at super middleweight. There isn't, I think, many you look at. You got Demetrius Andrade at middleweight, who obviously called for the fight, had the thing. You got Benavidez, who's obviously the main one, but again, for some reason, Canelo seems very reluctant to fight him for some reason. So I think Benavidez or Andrade would be the fights that I look at. Obviously, I'm not saying go down to middleweight. I think you drag Andrade up if he wants to fight. But yeah, either way. But a fantastic win though from Canelo. For Golovkin, I don't think he should retire on a loss. So I think maybe get a fight in Kazakhstan. Maybe fight, Chris Eubank Jr. was talking about that fight at the end. You'd make a lot of money in that fight, so maybe you go for that. Or maybe take a tune-up, or maybe just fight an half-decent fight. Or maybe fight like a Billy Joe Saunders. I don't know. Get a big half-decent fight, I think, for the end of your career. Do a little bit like what Kell Brook did when he fought Amir Khan and retire on that. Because he's a legend, Golovkin, and he has done a lot of things in boxing. But you don't want to see him go outside, and you certainly don't want to see him fight that much more, because eventually, whilst he's never been stopped in boxing, he'll meet a guy who will do that to him. And I think, again, at the age he's at, 40, you don't want him to continue for that much longer. So, but yeah, 2 warriors, 2 legends of the game, and some people say it's a disappointing fight, but to me, it was exactly what I thought it would be. I didn't think much more was going to happen in it, but At 40 years old, you can only expect Golovkin to do so much. But yeah, just my quick review of the Gennady Golovkin Canelo Alvarez trilogy fight. And until next time.